we are doing how to get the most out of your healthcare.
Oh, you are my healthcare.
You are my son. So, what do you think I'm going to talk about? Am I going to talk about symptoms? Probably not, right? Am I going to talk about sources? And that's the big thing. We're going to talk about the source of what actually makes you healthy. And does health come from little fairy dust coming out of the sky, or random, you're just healthy because you're born that way or something?
Yes.
I wish it was that simple, right? So health, if you define it based on what the World Health Organization defines it, is optimal physical, mental, and social well-being, comma, not merely the absence of disease. And the reason why that last bit is really important in there is because everybody determines, or not everybody, in America we've been taught if we have no symptoms, we're healthy. That's not true. That's definitely not true. I actually lost my best friend yesterday, one of my best friends. He died of a heart attack. And he had no symptoms. So why is that important? Because we have been tricked into believing that if we feel okay, we're healthy. And that has nothing to do with health. It has to do with how healthy do you feel, aka how well do I feel? How much pot, how much drugs am I on? That doesn't mean anything. It just means that we've masked enough stuff to feel okay. So optimal physical, mental, and social well-being. Those are the keys. So how do we actually look at staying healthy? There's two things we need to look at. The number one thing that determines between 70 to 80% of your health and how long you're going to live, how healthy you're going to be, is how do you adapt to stress? That's number one. How do we adapt to stress? And you'll know how you adapt to stress because if you get stressed and instantly or get really tight and you get into a defense posture, it means you can't adapt. And that means you're going to grow sickness. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's literally how simple it is. If you can't get out of that stress state in 20 to 30 minutes, you're going to continually propagate that problem. So we need you to get to the point where you can have that stress, the guy cuts you off, and you can instantly bring yourself back into a relaxed meditative state and keep going through life. Because if you can do that, then you can be exposed to crazy people and you'll be okay. You can be exposed to crazy events and you'll be okay. So that ability to adapt is based on how adaptable your brain is. That's 70 to 80% of how healthy you are. The other 20 to 30% is how we eat, how we exercise, and how we relate to other people. And the problem is we've been tricked by a lot of people that if I eat really good, I'll stay healthy. I have quite a few patients who are vegetarians and have diabetes. Vegetarian and has diabetes. Think about that. No sugar, no meat, no red dye number 12, none of that crazy stuff, and they have diabetes. So what's causing the diabetes? In the stress. The stress is causing you to go into a fight or flight state. So what happens is we get anxiety, we get that stress, somebody jumps at us, something comes out, somebody says something to do with the presidential election, any of that stuff. And boom, we get in a stress state, and what happens is the glucose levels come up to get us ready to run away or fight. And then we have to pull it back because we're not running away or fighting. So we produce insulin. And if we do that repeatedly throughout the day, guess what? We get insulin resistant or type 2 diabetes. And it's up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And what are the things causing it? Oh, I look at my Facebook and somebody said they didn't like my picture. Ooh, and it's that stupid. And you feel that, you ever feel that when your heart gets into your throat? Mm-hmm. That's stress. Or you get that adrenaline rush? That's stress. Now, in a little bit it's okay, but if you keep having it over and over and over and over again, it's basically rocket fuel running through your body, and it's what runs you to shreds. And it literally causes all the diseases we know. Everything from cancer to diabetes to heart to liver to bowels to infertility, all this stuff is because we can't adapt. So when I adjust you guys, I'm adjusting you guys to make you more adaptable, to remove that subluxation, because it literally kills. That subluxation, if you want to make a synonym to it, is stress. Subluxation equals stress equals disease. It's that simple. People die when they're subluxated. And a lot of people are not aware of this because it doesn't really mean anything. I don't have any symptoms. I'm like, one of my best friends had no symptoms and now he's not here anymore. So what does that really mean? It doesn't mean anything. It means I had no symptoms. So what I want to show you guys is that your ability to adapt, your ability to pull yourself out of stress is your ability to heal. And that ability to heal is all determined by, am I stuck in fight or flight or run away, or that heart pumping and that in my throat feeling that we get all day, every day if we live in that environment? Or am I able to fluctuate in and out? The key is fluctuation. If you can have somebody, you're supposed to react. If a bear comes out at you, you're supposed to react. You're supposed to jump, have that increase in adrenaline, have that increase in cortisone, and your body's supposed to take care of itself. But if you don't react, then there's a problem, right? But then you're also supposed to reset and go back to normal 10, 15 minutes, half an hour most. If we don't do that, that's when we start getting sick. And there's easy ways to see if we have these problems. Are we starting to get glucose sensitivities? Like, do we eat food and get tired right after we eat it? That's a sensitivity. That means we're burning up that pancreas. Do we start gaining a little weight around the tummy even though we're not really eating that bad food? Same thing, because when we take that sugar out of the bloodstream after we've been stressed, it wants to go to the easiest place. And the easiest place to hold it is right in your tummy. That's going to be that stress.
Thanks for saving my life, Doc.
No problem. We want to see, how are we doing? Are we fatigued? Do we have high blood pressure? Do we have high cholesterol levels? All of this means stress. That's all it's telling you. But we've been tricked into thinking, I have high cholesterol, cholesterol's a problem. No, cholesterol isn't the problem. The reason you're producing all this cholesterol is because your body needs to clot holes if you're going to get cut. So you're in that fight or flight mode, your body's thinking it's a tiger who's going to come get you. If it cuts you, you need cholesterol to be used as part of the clotting cascade. So you keep pushing out cholesterol every 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. Oh my gosh, where's it going to go? Well, it has nowhere to go because it can't get all reabsorbed back in the liver, so it starts sticking to the walls of the arteries and the vessels. And that's how we get our cholesterol issues. So it's not these crazy ideas, it's literally stress. Now, one form of stress is eating sugar because it causes inflammation, so I'm not going to disagree with that. So we pump that up, we have those issues. So do we have respiratory problems? Do we have heart issues? Do we have reproductive issues? Glandular issues? All of these things that we go, oh, this is my symptom, I don't know where it came from. I can tell you where it came from. The one thing that causes us all to get sick, which is stress. That stress equals subluxation. So when I say subluxation equals stress, which equals disease and death. It's that simple. It's a linear thing. They all go in right in a line. Here's the cool part. If your stress is, say, at a 9, but your brain's adaptability is at 10, you won't get sick. You won't have high blood pressure. You won't have, and this is why you can see people who do the exact same job, and one can live to 100, and the other one will die at 50, or 60, or whatever. And it's because of their adaptability. We literally saw this in Chernobyl, where there was families, and one could adapt better than the other one, and they had the same genetics, and one wouldn't get cancer and the other one did. And they were exposed to the same amount of radiation. That's a chemical stress. So your adaptability is all based on how you deal with stress. And that determines how long you're going to live. So yes, I want you guys to exercise. Yes, I want you guys to eat well. Yes, I want you to be mindful. Yes, 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 I want you to do all the things that people talk about, but that's 20%. If we don't upgrade our processor or our brain, we're missing out the big, big aspect of how healthy we are. This is why literally there are people that can smoke, work with asbestos, drink every day of their life and live to 110. And you go, how is that possible? They put all that bad food in. Well, that's less than 10%. That's how it's possible. We want to look at how's everything else working. What if we made that 70 to 80%, that neural adaptability, the thing we worked on? Then yeah, every once in a while we can do the bad thing and it's not going to affect us. And then we can adapt and we can live longer. We can continually get better and better and better. So I know I've gone in some circles here, but what I'm really trying to get to is that the three things that do kill us are chemical, emotional, and physical stress. The one that actually kills most of us is emotional stress. That's number one. Out of all the stressors I deal with my patients, 70% of the things that get them sick is emotional stress. The other two, if it's a physical stress, literally I can watch their problems go away in 1 to 2 weeks. If it's a chemical stress, it's usually 6 months. Emotional is the rest of your life. Until we learn how to deal with it, it literally continually comes back over and over and over. 95% of all low back pain I ever see has to do with an emotional stress of caring for somebody else or not being cared for by yourself. And that's what we see repeatedly over and over and over. And the reason why I say this is because I will literally not adjust the back. I will go in and I will touch a reflex point, and that reflex point is related to why the muscle spasm in your low back, and the pain goes away. I don't even have to adjust it because it's related to the emotion and holding it in, which is getting us sick. And we've heard it's not good to push things down, but how many families teach you that's how we deal with things? This is push it down, push it down. Just don't deal with that. We'll talk about it later. That's how we get sick. Because what happens is, if we go into the brain waves, there's specific waves that are used to deal with stress. That's called beta. And if your beta brain waves are at a specific level, specifically 32%, and you stay there, you'll stay healthy. Alpha is the main brain wave that we use for healing. Theta, which is the lower one, is used for healing as well. But guess what else hangs out in theta? All those emotions that you push down, they hang out in there. And that's the subconscious. And if you hear gurus talk, they're like, oh, get into the state, the meditative, it might take you a while, like 20 or 30 years, and then this stuff will come up and you'll get rid of it. I think that's too long, personally. So I have technologies that allow you to get there right away. But the thing is, I don't recommend you start that way. I recommend we slowly, and this is how I say there's a room, and in that room are all the things that you've pushed down and didn't want to remember. I say we open the door real slowly and maybe close it, and then close it and let a little bit out. Because if I literally take somebody and on day one put them right into theta, that means I open the door and they might have a nervous breakdown. Because every single problem that they have is going to all come to the surface. And we're just going to have a holy God to God moment. We're just going to, everything's coming out. We don't know what's going on. And so I personally don't recommend you have this. This is what chiropractors call retracing. If you have a really, really good chiropractic adjustment, it will actually open that door. An average chiropractic adjustment, they'll take care of you and you'll get enough alpha that your body will heal. But where the miracles happen is where that stuff down stuff starts coming up. Then those little ideas we have, like I'm not good enough because mommy didn't give me a hug that day, or I'm not good enough because somebody said something, those things start going away and we start seeing the world through glasses of what's really going on. So I like to relate it to, like, say, colored glasses. And if we put rose and then blue and then black and all these different colors up from all the different emotional traumas we've had, eventually we can't see barely anything. It's foggy out there. And as we start taking these things away, you start seeing the world for what it really is. And you start seeing things going on for what it really is. And it's not bad, good, bad. It's literally showing you that everything's okay. And we're gonna work out and everything. And a lot of people are supportive. we think the world is we've been taught the world is very bad, but it's not actually that way. If you literally watch during the day, how many times do cars go through a stoplight and there's no accidents? Like here in Colorado, outside of my door, 500,000 cars go by, and there's an accident once, maybe every 6 months. Think of how awesome that is. Over and over and over and over. All these things happen every day, and all we have been taught is to highlight the small, small things, and we see the one little thing, one little thing, one little thing, the random things. And the miracles, like the miracles within your body, to literally take in something like a pepperoni pizza and make an eyeball. Think about that. It's freaking awesome. You take it in, you break it down, and you make an eyeball, and you make a muscle, and you make a nerve, and you make all this stuff. This is how powerful you guys are. So what we want to do is remind you of how powerful you are. Remind you that you don't have to suppress these things, that you can deal with them. And it's hard because when we deal with them, we have to actually deal with ourselves. And it's not me that's going to ever heal you, and I'll tell you that straight up. I have to coax you along, and eventually you'll be able to fly or walk or whatever it is. But getting to that point is me trying to help you figure out how powerful you are. And that's why I don't like pulling the doors open or giving people really big adjustments on the first day. Because if they have a big retracing event, they don't understand that they're actually healing when they feel bad or they vomit or they have these issues. Because those symptoms don't indicate we're sick. How we look at this is, and the analogy I like to use is, so Tuesday night is my sushi night. This is when I go get sushi. So if we went out and got sushi, and we all ate bad sushi, but we didn't know it, and all of you guys vomited and I didn't vomit, the people vomiting are actually sick because they're moving that toxin. But it doesn't feel good. But if I didn't vomit, that means I'm sick because I'm allowing that toxin to move through me. And we'll see things. So right now I have a lady who's been a heroin addict for 20 years, and we've weaned her off heroin, and she didn't have all the sweats and the chills and all these things. And she just got a cold. And I'm like, excellent, you're actually healing now. You're actually destroying the bacteria and the viruses. You're actually taking care of things. You've been so suppressed for so long by putting this toxin into you that you couldn't do that. So I know I got on a little ramble here, so let's go back to where we were. So let's think about this. 70 to 80% of the healing is based on how well your neurology works. So of that, 70 to 80% of the healing is the chiropractic adjustment. The chiropractic adjustment actually grows new neurons in your brain. It makes you smarter. It takes you out of the stress response. The adjustment literally, and if you want to see the poster, I have it, of a real-time chiropractic adjustment, and a man was hooked up and the EEGs were put on his head. His beta or stress waves were high. His alpha and theta waves or healing waves were low. The instant the adjustment happened, his healing waves doubled the stress waves and the stress waves dropped off. That's what the adjustment does. But here's the problem. Can we get it to hold? So we adjust you, we cause a new way to work. So let's do another analogy. This is like me literally tearing up a road and then saying, okay, drive down the road, and all there is gravel. In a while, it's not going to work, right? You're going to have potholes and issues, right? So what we need to do is repave it. To pave that road is neurofeedback and neuroentrainment. So that's why I use a product in here called Mind Tap, or Brain Tap that you call it now. And what it does is it literally exercises those new neural connections for you. That new ability to adapt to stress, that new ability to deal with it, will allow you to have chemical, emotional, physical stress and not have a big problem. Yes, we're going to have stupid stuff happen. I can't magically give you a little fairy dust and nothing bad happens. I wish I could do that to myself. But what I am going to do is make it so that your cup won't run over when you fill it full of water or fill it full of stress. When you don't break down, you don't have these issues. So your boss says something to you and you go, okay, that's nice, it rolls off your back. So if you've heard, oh, I just woke up on the bad side of bed, that means they're stressed and they're actually priming themselves to get sick that day or have a problem. Oh, I stubbed my toe, that was one stress. I had another stress, I had another stress, I had another stress, and now a problem happens. And we see these things happen throughout and we're like, oh, it's just random stuff. No, it's not random. It's how we actually deal with life. So your adjustment and the neurobiofeedback is literally going to keep you healthy at 80% of your principle, 70 to 80%. Now, you throw those other good things in, and oh my gosh, we can do well. And if you want to know how long the human potential is, right now there's a man who's 141 years of age over in, I believe it's one of the Polynesian islands. So we can live genetically and biblically to 140 to 160 years of age. Why are we not doing this? Well, we're bombarding ourselves with more stress than we've ever had. Technology is good when it's used for things that will actually help us. But how many people we go out and they don't even talk at a restaurant anymore? They just look down, you look around, and everybody's looking at their phone, figuring out why there's a problem, and what happened, and who shot who, and what blah, 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 blah. And so all that does is it literally heightens us again and again and again and again. And now we get diabetes, and now we get bowel problems, and now we get glandular issues. You name it. Every single one of those commercials on television, if you have this, ask for this, is a form of stress and how your body adapted. Or maladapted, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So the big one that I hear about now is, I have gluten intolerance. And I go, wow, why doesn't everybody have gluten intolerance? Well, it's because you have not been able to adapt to stress. Your bowel becomes leaky because it won't heal. Because when you're stressed, you actually move the blood away from it. And now the gluten protein goes through the bowel and gets in the bloodstream, and the immune system says, foreign, bad, and attacks it. That's called gluten intolerance. Now, is that protein bad? No. Should that protein be absorbed correctly? Yes. Is that happening? No. Is that why we have issues? Yes. That's why certain people can literally eat a pizza and there's no problem, and other people can't. And it's literally the body overreacting because it can't react correctly. So you literally ask about any disease, and that's what it is. I'm not talking trauma like gunshot wounds or car accidents. Chronic disease. 95% of people get sick because of chronic diseases and bad choices. That's literally what it is. The number one cause of death in America and the world is being stupid. Seriously, that's what it is. It's not heart disease and cancer. It's literally being stupid and doing stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to ask ourselves, what do we want to do? How do we want to decide to live? Do we want to decide to invest in our health now? Or we want to wait and basically see if our body will blow up and then see how the side effects are? And it's your guys' choice. I just want you to be able to know that if you invest now, you have a higher health potential than if you start later in life. And it's easier for me to maintain a healthy body and keep it healthy than it is to bring in a body that's all cut up and drugged up and try to fix it. It's like a car. If you maintain a really nice car, it's real easy to keep that thing driving. But if you crash it and then leave it sitting out in the yard and don't put oil in it and then try to start it 2-3 years later, is it going to work? It's not going to work as well. And that's what happens. The crash is the surgeries that we get. That's very traumatic on our body. A lot of people don't live through surgeries because of the trauma of the surgery. The drug is a chemical assault as well. It makes us feel okay, and there's nothing wrong with it for a short period of time to keep you alive if it's a trauma thing. But when we start getting into weeks and months and years of chronic use, there's a problem. And this is the crazy thing that I'll hear. Well, if I go to a chiropractor, I have to keep coming back, and I go, well, how often do you take your drug? Oh, you keep taking it daily. You keep coming back. One's making you sicker. And we know this because if we keep taking the drug, if we took that whole pill bottle of drugs, are we gonna be alive? The answer is no, we're probably gonna die. So what do you think it's doing slowly? It's literally slowly killing us. What I want you guys to understand is if you invest now, and you guys are doing, because I'm speaking in the choir right now, is that you're literally giving yourself a higher health quotient. You're allowing yourself to have those days where everything goes wrong and you won't die. Everything goes wrong, and maybe the worst thing that happens is you get a suppressed immune system and you catch a cold. That's what I want to live with. I don't want to live with everything goes wrong and you're gone. That's what hurts me, because I love my patients, and the fact that I've lost a couple because they didn't follow through with repeatedly making sure they were growing healthy, they started reverting back. That's hard on me, because I care about every single one of you guys that comes in here. I may not know that. I know I act like a stupid sometimes. But it's literally watching you guys heal. Like when I see each person, it's like for me, a baby, and I get to see what they turn into. I literally get to see how healthy you can get. Or we can talk like a flower analogy. I get to keep feeding you guys water, and I give you nutrients, and then all of a sudden this beautiful flower comes out. And each one's different, and that's what I love about my job, is that each person gets to do something that they love. They get to be, somebody who skis or runs or jumps, all these different things. So the biggest key that I want you guys to understand is that if you can adapt to stress, you don't have major symptoms for more than a day. If you can't, that means you're not adapting. And that means we have a problem, and we need to see somebody who can help us adapt better, help our brain work better. That's somebody like myself. I still want you to eat well. I still want you to exercise. I still want you to do these things, but they're not the answer. That's why we know people who literally are vegetarians and are sick, meditate and are sick. I have yoga masters that come in here and are sick, because we got to look at the bigger aspect of how we actually heal and how we actually take care of ourselves. So I think I've hit it a couple of different ways, but the takeaway is this: the adjustment is 70 to 80% of you allowing your brain to heal. There are other ways to do things though. You can do neurofeedback. The interesting thing though is that one adjustment, and this has been researched, is equivalent to 50 neurofeedback sessions. So like that stuff we watched on 9 News about neurofeedback changing our brain, one adjustment with neurofeedback is literally equal to 50 neurofeedback sessions by themselves. That's phenomenal, because we make new neurons. With neurofeedback, you try to train old ones. Then the next thing we want to look at is, how are we dealing with stress? Are we stuck in a stress state? The definition of an addiction is when your body runs you. So when you crave alcohol and you give into it, that's the body craving it. When you get angry because somebody said something, you're literally reacting. That's an addiction. When your body is stuck in a stress state, it will crave stress. And I'll see this because I'll take people and I'll take them right out of stress. And in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing, so I'd take them right out of stress into alpha, and all of a sudden they'd have all these bad dreams and feelings and emotions would come up because their body didn't want to change. It becomes so used to being stressed and defensive that as soon as I tried to pull them down into relaxation, they would literally get angry. They'd go, "No, this is bad. You made me think about this and that and bad stuff, and I had all these bad feelings." And it was literally the body being addicted to that feeling and that emotion, that it's stuck there, and that's what was causing them to get sick. So we have to gradually pull you out of that. And the higher stress you're in, you can literally tell this. The real easy way to tell how stressed you are is how high up do your shoulders go. It's that easy. If they're nice and relaxed and low, you're good. The higher they go, the more stressed you are. And the other one you see is how far forward your head goes. The farther forward your head goes, the more stressed you are. So if you see somebody walk around like this, they are stressed to the max. And I can literally look at them and go, I know they're that stressed. I know in their future is a heart attack or a major disease process. But we can turn them around. We can help them get out of that. It's not going to be easy, because to get your head going forward like this and going up like that, that's years of not adapting correctly. And that's a new trained process. And that's how people live. And we'll see, when you can't adapt right, these are the people that are really snippy and hard to talk to. They're angry all the time. And they burst out and they attack people. And what's going on is they can't adapt. So when you ask a question or say something, it literally leads them to react in a anger mode to control the environment. So that's why you're seeing these things. And like literally, I had a lady came in here, and when she first came in, she had tics, and she spoke like 1,000 words per minute because she was so stressed that her body couldn't calm down. And it took us 3 weeks, and she literally started coming in, and she would play with the babies instead of saying they're too loud. And she would start cooing over them. That's the change. And the crazy thing is, some people are so stressed, they don't even realize that they've changed. Oh no, I've always been like this. What are you talking about? I'm like, you're speaking slower now. What are you talking about? That's not true. Your shoulders are lower now. You don't have any more problems. This is why chiropractic helps, is because we change the brain. And guess what? When your body has the brain relaxed, all the muscles relax. And then your low back pain and your headaches go away that most chiropractors deal with. But if you get into the big stuff, then you start seeing things like arthritis, MS, depression, anxiety, PMS, all these different things, because the brain controls the organs as well. So when we can get everything to heal, that's when the miracles happen. So, eat right, exercise. You guys all know how to do that. If you don't, I have other videos on it. Because I have a lot of videos. Those are simple things. And we know we're supposed to eat vegetables. And we know, and if you can't eat vegetables, get Cheater Ways. There's a product, I'm going to plug it because I like it. It's called Vega 1. It's organic. It's out of Canada. And it's a full meal replacement, full of vegetables. If you don't want to eat them, put them in a smoothie. Mm-hmm. But if you get the nutrients in, it'll give you the right building blocks. That's why nutrition is good. If you have scurvy, obviously we got a problem. Maybe we should put some vitamin C in you. But most people, as long as they eat a standard diet and have one good meal a day, are not going to be deficient in stuff. One multivitamin literally has thousands and thousands of more pieces of nutrition than we need. We literally have better nutrition here, and our urine is more expensive than third world countries. They could literally, I don't want to say take it, but it's that good that we pee out so many vitamins. So these things are good, but the key is, how do we adapt? If we can adapt, because this is the missing point. If nutrition was the answer, then every vegetarian should be healthy. If meditation was the answer, then everybody who meditates should not get sick. But we all know that's not true. The answer is adaptability. So it's bigger than just a simple eat right and do this. Because I have patients who I've seen that literally come in and go, I'm doing everything right, why am I still sick? And you're still sick because you've been raised to deal with stress a certain way. And so when we can help change you, make you adapt better, that's when you'll heal. So the answer is, how do you want to save money? Spend a little now, and then you don't spend a lot later. Invest in yourselves now. Do self-propagation work. Help yourself now. And then when you're older, you don't have to deal with being scared that something bad's going to happen. Now, eventually, we're all going to go, so I can just help you prolong as long as you can. But the key is, and I think this is the best part, is that as long as you guys can work at an optimal level, then you can do the work you guys are made to do. And that's why I love doing what I do, because I see you guys get to go out and do the things you love to do and help other people. Because ultimately, that's why we're all here. Thank you, guys.